All right, guys. So today we're going to run through an example of registering in Got Sport for the 2022-2023 Advanced Leagues. So if you have been on your Got Sport account before and you have teams already linked with your account, they're going to appear here. If not, or it's a new team, you're going to go ahead and search over here in the search teams box. So we will create a new team for this, and we'll just do ASA Reds. And then you will select Arizona Soccer Association as your club. We will do a boys team, and then make sure here that you're selecting the appropriate event age. So we will do a U13 team for this group, and then you're going to hit search. And this will say that no team was found, so it'll populate your new team here. So you make sure this information is correct. Your team name, club's going to be the same there, gender, and then make sure you select the correct event age here as well. So match it up with U13, and then please select your appropriate role. If you're the coach or the TM of this group, we'll just say we're the coach of this team. And then your postal code, you'll click save. And then your team will appear here and you can begin the registration process. So first it'll pull you to your contact information. So make sure all your contact information is relevant and updated. And then you can scroll down and save and continue. Now here is where the team information page is going to be. So this is where you're going to enter your team name. Your team association is going to be Arizona, and make sure your gender and your event age match up as well. And then here is also where you're going to select your preferred division for the upcoming season. So we will say we are APL team for this upcoming season. You also have the opportunity to enter your Got Soccer team ID in this box here if you have it. If not, we've had some issues with teams entering this information and creating problems. So if it's not allowing you to pass through this page of the registration, go ahead and make sure this box is empty and then try and click save and continue, see if it lets you through. So now onto the registration form. We'll just run through the questions here. So first one's going to be if your team will be changing clubs for the 2022-2023 season, please type the name of the previous club below. And then if this is not applicable, just go and type NA in the box. So if you were with another club last season, that is where you're going to type in your name here. Since this is a new team, we're going to say this is just not applicable to our registration process this season. And moving on to number 2, is where you're going to type your team name for the 2022-2023 season. And then if the team name is different from last season, go ahead and state that below as well. So we are going to say that we are the ASA Reds this season. And then we can indicate, since this is a new team, that we can just leave as is. Then number 3 is where you're going to type in your coach, your assistant coach, and your team manager's names. So since this is a new team this season, we'll go ahead and input some examples here using the format above. And if you have multiple assistant coaches, please list all the assistant coaches for the season. That'll be helpful for our back end, making sure that all your team information is updated appropriately. And moving on here, this is where you're going to select your head coach's coaching license. So you're going to want to select the highest coaching license that your coach currently possesses. So if you are currently enrolled in a course, you'll be able to indicate that here by selecting other. And then in the next question, you can input the information of the course that you're enrolled in. So for this example, we'll just say we have an A license. And since we already indicated that we have a license and we're not a course, just go ahead and input NA here. Moving on, we're going to select the gender of the team for the upcoming season. So we are applying for a boys team. And then this is where we're going to input our team age again. So we will say that we are a 13U 2010 team this upcoming season. And moving on, this is where we're going to also select the primary and secondary divisions that your team is applying for this season. So we indicated earlier that our preferred division is going to be the APL. That's what we're applying for this season. And then we would say that ASL 1 is most likely our second division. So it'll allow you to select multiple divisions here, but go ahead and just select that your primary and secondary. And then this next question, number 9, is only really pertinent to Open League Academy age teams. So since we're applying for an advanced leagues team, this is not going to be applicable to us. So we'll just go ahead and indicate that and move along. So this question 10 is going to be an indication of where your team participated last season. So this would be inputting which league and which division you played in last season. Since we're saying this is a new team, we'll just go ahead and select this bottom option and say that we did not participate in any other leagues last year. And then similarly, this is where you're going to select what position you finished in the table in whatever league you played in last season. So once again, we'll just go ahead and select a new team that we didn't play in any of these leagues last year. And then moving on to question 12, this is where we're going to get into roster continuity. So for 13U and above, a roster continuity of 11 players is going to be required. And then for the 12U division, it's going to be 9 players. So this is where you're going to type in this question the names of players that were on this exact same team last year. So we'll just jot down a few examples, just given the formatting of players that we say played with us last season. And then moving on, this is where we're going to list the names of players that came from a different team in the past season. So these are players that you've acquired for this upcoming year that did not play on this exact same team last season. And then you're going to go ahead and list each player's name, their previous team, and then their previous league or division. So we'll jot down a example player here. So follow in the example format, put down the name, and then we'll put down their former team from last season. And then we will say that they were playing in the State League 2. All right, moving along, this is where we're going to indicate players that were rostered on a Desert Conference or a National League team in this past season. So similarly to the last one, you are going to list the player's name, their team that was in Desert Conference or National League last season, and then which conference or league that the player played in. So we will just throw down another name here, put in the name, and then we will list the team that they played on last season. And then you would indicate they played in Desert Conference or National League. All right, moving on to 15, similar format here, but this is going to be for players that were members of the Arizona ODP state team that participated at the regional championships in January. So for this, it's going to be, you're going to list the player's name and their birth year. So we'll just throw down, as the example says, and put the player's full name and their birth year of the team that they played on last season at the ODP championships. And then question 16 is going to ask you to include any additional information that you believe is pertinent to your application. This question is not required, but if you feel you have any additional info that needs to be thrown in, feel free to type that here. If not, you can move on down to question 17, which is going to ask about weeknight play date availability for advanced league teams. So since we're doing an advanced league application, this is going to be relevant to our team. So by selecting yes for this question, your team states that occasionally they may be available to play a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday evening game. We're going to try and avoid weekday games for the upcoming season, but selecting yes indicates that the instance we do have weeknight games, that your team is available to play on these dates. Otherwise, you would say no and indicate that you can only play on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So we'll say that yes, we are available to play weeknights. Coaching conflicts, this is going to ask you to read through and understand that coaching conflicts are only going to be guaranteed for a maximum of 2 teams per head coach in the advanced or open league. So this is going to just acknowledge that coaching and scheduling is only going to be able to work around 2 teams per head coach for the upcoming season. So we'll say I've read and agree. And then this question, number 19, is going to ask you whether your team is participating in the USYS Desert Conference in this upcoming season. So since we're a new team, we're going to say no, that we do not plan on participating in the Desert Conference. And finally, coming down here, question 20, this is going to be for open league teams, 12U to 19U. So that's just saying that you have read and agreed to the above. If this isn't pertinent to you, then that's okay. You just click that you've read the statement and understand. And finally, this is going to be a link to both the advanced and open league rules for teams to click through and read through. And this will be the rules and policies for the upcoming season. So once you've clicked on those and read through them, you can go ahead and go down to question 21 and say that you have read and agreed to the rules listed above. And once you do so, that'll be the end of the form. So we can go ahead and click save and continue and move on here. So then we'll come to the blackout date request section here. So if you already know your blackout dates for the upcoming season, you're going to be allowed 2 weekends in the fall. But these dates must be equal to a full weekend, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you know those dates now, you can input them. So let's say that we are going to be blacking out the September, say we're going to do the 16th. So you're going to have to input these as individual dates, but make sure that they cover the entire weekend. So we would say the 16th, and we would add an additional date, and then we would have to input the 17th. And then similarly, one more time, we would have to do the 18th. So that would cover the entire weekend. And then if you don't know the other blackout weekend off the top of your head now, then that's okay. You can add that in your GotSport calendar at a later time after you complete the registration process. But we can at least get these started now and input these right away. So we'll say we're good with that weekend now, save and continue. And so this is going to prompt you with the fee selection page. So you'll basically have 2 options, an open league payment plan, which we're not applying for the open league, and then we'll have the advanced league deposit fee. So if your team is applying for the advanced leagues, you will select this deposit fee, which is going to be a $100 non-refundable deposit fee to register for the advanced leagues for the upcoming season. So we're going to go ahead and select that option. And that'll prompt us into the payment section. So this is going to state that there's just a 4% credit card fee for transactions. Continue with that. And then this should give you the deposit fee along with the 4% credit card fee. So just make sure that all this information is accurate for what you're applying for. We'll continue on to checkout. And then finally, this is going to be the last step of the registration process, checkout page. So this should indicate that you have the $100 deposit fee as well as the 4% credit card fee on the account. So you want to make sure all this information is accurate before you input and pay with your credit card. And then here is where you will input your information. And then you have payment terms listed below. So you click yes, I agree once you enter your information, and then pay down at the bottom. And once you input all that information, your registration form will be complete. So after you've moved through all that entire process, you will be good to go, and you should be set for the upcoming season. You should receive an email to your link to your Got Sport account, notifying that your application has been received. And then when the application status changes, you will receive another email indicating your new status for the league. And that is it. That is the entire process for 22-23 season.